Well, you may have noticed that nowadays almost every single male seiyuu out there has a photo book. What is a photo book? Basically, a compilation of photos and sometimes essays or an interview of a specific seiyuu. This is usually created to capitalize on a seiyuu's popularity and at the same time to thank the fans for something. But let's talk about why this is something that has started to be almost like a rule for male seiyuu nowadays to have a photo book, and why so many seiyuu right now have one, and why even veteran seiyuu are now starting to announce photo books, because this is starting to be something impacting basically from younger to the veterans in the industry. So let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I'm your host Vanessa, and today we are going to talk about photo books and how male seiyuu are so massive fans of those. If you haven't paid close attention to that, or if you are not that into those types of content, let's say, photo books have started to become something that is really common among male seiyuu in the last couple of years. But as of late, let's say in the past 2-3 years, even seiyuu with very few fans, or even veteran seiyuu who you would think their fans are not that interested in purchasing a photo book, are now basically creating photo books and selling those, and actually having really good results with those sales, which is impressive. So, why do photo books start to be this big for male seiyuu, and how important are photo books by the end of the day for seiyuu? Because we are all thinking about these from the perspective of a fan. If our favorite seiyuu releases a photo book, we are going to purchase it, let's say, because we want to support their work, or we want a different look about their career, or an opinion about their career coming from themselves and not from other people talking about what they think their career basically is. I believe that in these photo books, actually the seiyuu have a big say in what they want to tell their fans and how they want to tell it to their fans. So I think that they are in some way quite valuable beyond the pictures or the photos, because I know that most of you will want to purchase a photo book by your favorite male seiyuu because you want the photos. I understand. You have Takuya Sato's photo book that is a bit racy, and you have some other photo books that play around with racy themes but never end up being that racy. Still, we have Kenjiro Tsuda's photo book and Kensho Ono's photo book and even Takuyashiro's photo book that are really quite racy. You may be watching some or seeing some of the photos appearing in the viewable version of this episode on YouTube. But yeah, let's cover a bit more about photo books and their importance in this episode and see why seiyuu now are so keen about those. First question is, what is a photo book? So a photo book is a collection of photos and essays or a long interview. Sometimes it has a bonus a DVD or Blu-ray with the making of. If you are in Japan, usually you will get one of those, the special editions with the Blu-ray or the DVD of the behind-the-scenes making of the photos, for example. And you have as well at times even some seiyuu that write songs specifically for that photo book. One photo book that comes to mind when it comes to that is Shoya Chiba's photo book that was released in 2023. He made sure that the photo book had even a specific song that you could purchase the limited or the special edition and you would get the recording of that song. Little did people know that he was actually hinting that he was going to make a solo debut a couple of months later. Usually, people that are not comfortable reading Japanese will not purchase photo books. There are people that purchase photo books because they just want the photos, because, well, they want to see their favorite seiyuu in completely different scenes, with completely different vibes. And sometimes there are even concepts behind the photo shoot, so it is really nice to see. But still, a photo book is quite pricey just to pay for photos. But you do you. I'm not going to judge you because I usually tend to purchase the limited editions of all the content that I love by my favorite male seiyuu. So I'm not going to judge you because I would start to judge myself before trying to judge you. When we talk about photo books, we need to think about how did they even start to be a thing? Because photo books have been around for a long time. SEIYUU have released photo books for a long time, more than 2 decades. It's weird in a way, but it's actually something that has come to be a natural thing in the industry. Let's see these from a different prism. Not as fans, but analyzing how the industry is. Male SEIYUU nowadays are almost like multi-talented artists. They are voice actors, narrators at times, some of them are singers, others are into the music projects, so in some way you can tell or say that they are singers, but they are not professional solo artists or professional band members, for example, but they are singing. And you have some that are authors, for example Yuki Kaji, Soma Saito, or even Inoue Kazuhiko. And you have others that have their own radio shows, they make appearances on TV shows. For example, Mamoru Miyano makes a lot of appearances on TV shows. Kenji Tsuda also has been appearing a lot on TV shows. So male SEIYUU basically, or SEIYUU in general, let's say, they are everywhere nowadays. They are no longer just voice actors. And one of the things that male SEIYUU have been doing a lot as of late is to collaborate with brands, creating their own fashion lines or designs in collaboration with fashion brands or apparel brands. So we are seeing more and more SEIYUU diving a bit into fashion. That's really something that is a part of or is a consequence of the industry looking now to SEIYUU almost like they are idols, almost like they are superstars, let's say. And there are other SEIYUU that have experience as models. Let's talk about Toshiki Masuda, for example. So, we have SEIYUU that come from various backgrounds, that have various experiences and have done a lot of things. Photo books just come as a way to tie up everything else. If a SEIYUU is successful enough, if he has a following that is big enough, let's say for example that they have 5,000 fans, it's already a lot. If you think that there are more than 1,000 SEIYUU active in the industry and only 10 or 20, for example, get really big and all others usually don't get that chance to become that big, to have 5,000 fans only in Japan, I'm just going to talk about Japan, is already a feat. And you see that fans are actually craving for something more coming from a specific SEIYUU, and that SEIYUU actually has a following that is quite devoted to what they do. Why not release something that is a bit more personal? And that's where the photo books come from. Because basically, let's say you only had first younger SEIYUU releasing photo books. You had SEIYUU between their 20s and their mid-30s releasing photo books, because the younger female audience usually gets really crazy about them when they are in their 20s and early 30s. When they are already in their 40s, fans are not as crazy about that or those specific SEIYUU. There are some exceptions, and perhaps you are an exception. But usually fans in that age group from the 40s to the 50s, they are not as crazy and sometimes deranged as some fans when they are in their teens are, and how they react to SEIYUU usually in that same age group or an age group ahead of them. What you have usually is the younger fans are a bit crazy about the younger SEIYUU, and older fans are really protective and caring about their veteran SEIYUU, the SEIYUU that they have been fans of for a very long time. Photo books usually work best with the younger audience because the younger audience is only coming after the looks. Let's be clear about these. I believe no one was really interested about what was the content of the photo book by Kenjiro Tsuda or Kazuki Kato or Taku Yashiro. They were after the photos that were racy and almost nudity in some cases. People were not really interested in what was being told in the stories that were being told by the SEIYUU in the interviews or what they were sharing about their experiences. Once again, there are some fans, and maybe you are one of those, that actually cares about that, so you didn't purchase the photo book just because of those photos. You wanted the full package. If it was instead of a photo book, a book, the book would sell much less, believe me. And especially among international fans, it would barely sell. So the photobooks usually help because they are visual, there are no language barriers whatsoever, and among fans it's usually the time when they get to see their favorites in a different light, with different clothing, without clothing, or whatever in between. That's all fair game in here because the SEIYUU decide what they want to deliver to their fans. And that's a more intimate way to deliver that type of content to their fans and make sure that they are in some way rewarding them for supporting them, let's say. And this happens. The two things that fans first come across with the SEIYUU are usually the voice and the looks. And if they are not there because of the voice, you are not purchasing a photobook because of the voice, because you cannot hear voices in photobooks yet. You are purchasing because of the looks. And that's why most veteran SEIYUU were a bit on the fence whether they should or should not release a photobook, because they were thinking their fans are not in an age in which they want to see anything like that, and younger fans will not be drawn to them as much as they are drawn to the younger SEIYUU that are fit, that they have those looks almost like an idol, and they no longer have those. They are conscious of those, and that's normal because they are in an industry that now, more than ever, cares about the looks, and that's a pity. So photobooks basically appear in a way to give back to the fans, capitalize on their looks, and ensuring, which is the third important thing in here, ensuring that the SEIYUU is getting money from different places. Because I've talked this extensively a couple of years ago. I believe it was episode 6 or 7, something like that. It was really early in this podcast, and you can check those episodes. They are from 2020, I believe, and it was in a time in which I was really big on creating scripts, so the episodes may have a slower pacing, but they are still good listens because I talk extensively about how much a SEIYUU earns, or it earned based on the information available in 2020. So pay attention to that because the information is not updated as of the time of recording this episode, 2024, but this was extremely valid in 2020. SEIYUU do not earn that much money, especially when they are starting their careers. Of course, they have sponsorships in some way, others become YouTubers to make extra money on the side, and ensuring that the money is theirs and not from their talent agency or their music label, which is a different talk completely, and I'm not going to go into detail on that because otherwise this episode would never end. But yeah, the SEIYUU are not earning that much money from anime series. And with so much competition, like I was telling you before, there are over 1,000 SEIYUU active in the industry. And per season you have, let's say, 50 to 100 characters that need to be voiced. You are saying basically that 900 SEIYUU do not have a job and have to work part-time jobs to pay their rent, to pay their utility bills, to basically have a solid life, let's say. When we see, and especially this is something that I would love for male SEIYUU fans or fans in general to get into their head, is that their career is extremely difficult to get into. And then it is even more difficult to thrive in it. And to become popular, only a very, very small percentage of SEIYUU from both sides, male and female, get to become stars or get to become popular. So if you have a favorite SEIYUU and they have become a star, they are part of that lucky 1% of SEIYUU that actually had their work being recognized to the point that they are everywhere. And this is something that doesn't come easy. It's a mix of luck with a lot of hard work and of course a lot of connections sometimes, or a word of mouth that ends up supporting that their work is impressive and that everyone needs to work with them. Photobooks appear here to ensure that SEIYUU have an extra money source for them. Because they work, for example, let's say a specific SEIYUU voices a character in anime. They earn per episode. Even if they speak 10 seconds or 1 hour, they earn per episode. If they are narrating, they earn per word. and sometimes the price per word is really, really low. So you need to narrate a lot to get a lot of money. Usually narration is one of the things that pay the best, but when a seiyuu is starting out, they are not getting the best pay rate ever. Then you have the seiyuu that are singing as solo artists or as part of bands. Depending if the project is an indie one, which is to say, they are from a very small music label, their music is almost created and produced and distributed by them, not by a music label. Then the seiyuu, if they have fans purchasing their music, they are basically earning money from that activity. If they are part of bigger music labels, let's say Sakura Music in the case, for example, of Soma Saito, or King Records in the case of Mamoru Miyano, for example, there are different things coming in here. Higher or lower, they are making money off of their fan club. They are making money off of their music. They are making money off of the lyrics that they write. Saito is also earning money from its lyrics and songs. And then both are earning money from the live shows. These are sources of money for the seiyuu, and this is only coming from their music, because if you then look at their careers, they are earning more from anime, games in some way, in case of Mamoru Miyano from TV appearances, and on Soma Saito's side of his corners, he basically writes for a couple of magazines, and in a way a novel in a specific magazine dedicated to that. So he earns money from writing. Mamoru Miyano, for example, earns money from TV appearances. And they are earning that into it. Now add those photobooks. Photobooks have little effort coming from the seiyuu because they do not need to sing. They do not need to act, they just need to dress in fancy clothes. People will prepare those for them, and they will spend 4 or 5 hours taking photos. They give an interview, 30 minutes, 1 hour long, and that interview is condensed by someone else into a readable interview. And it will be approved or not by their talent agency, because the talent agency, of course, needs to review everything to give the okay and the green light for the photobook to go. This is a low-effort type of product that the seiyuu can sell, and that can give them a lot of money for a long time without making or breaking a sweat. Instead of the music that they have to compose, they have to perform, and even if they are not composing or writing their music, they will still have to perform it live. So they are making an effort to give something to their fans in exchange of money. In this case, for the photobooks, they just need to dress fancy, take some photos, give a 1 hour interview, and they are done. The photobook is for sale for $40, and people will purchase it for years to come. That's easy money. So that's a safe place for them to get some money and to ensure that they are getting... it's not a consistency in here, because fans will purchase more the photobook when it drops than in later months. But there will always be someone else trying to purchase a photobook of theirs, and they will still be making money in years to come, unless the photobook goes out of print. That's a different story. But as you see, fans are actually purchasing something from the seiyuu. It's a low-effort gig for them, because voice acting is more exhaustive, singing is much more exhaustive, appearing on TV, exhausting, but taking photos is not as exhausting because they have downtime, and in between the photographer and everyone on the set prepares the next set for the photos, the seiyuu is sat on a chair writing their essay for a magazine, or basically reading the scripts for an anime season they are participating in, or they are in some way composing or writing lyrics on the spot. So they are making sure that their time is valuable and it's used in the best way possible, and in between that they are taking photos and they are giving those interviews, and the content is created for us and we get something that we treasure a lot. But thankfully for them, SEIYUU, they didn't take that much time creating it, and it is a way for them to make money for years to come. So that's why you see photobooks now more than ever being a thing, because they are a reliable, in some way, source of money. If not for the novelty of that, with the veteran seiyuu, it's of course because of the novelty. Not many veteran seiyuu dare to take photos and appear on magazines. Now we do have TV Guide Voice Stars Dandyism, which is focused on seiyuu older than 40 years old. But up until very recently, there were no magazines getting older seiyuu on the main cover. So right now you have a renewed interest in veteran seiyuu, and they have noticed that fans nowadays, when they look at veteran seiyuu, they are no longer looking at their looks, they are looking at the roles they have in anime, how endearing they are, and how fun they are, because some veteran seiyuu actually turned into really boring people, truth be told. But there are some that are still so young at heart, that they are still so fun, as fun, or even more than those that are in their 20s and 30s, that people are kind of drawn into them, and they feel that they see in them something that connects really well. And others, it's because they are so earnest, or they have been so important in the industry that people look at them basically with hearts in their eyes, and that helps a lot to create a reputation for them, to help them sell. And in some ways, some seiyuu have come forward and said, yeah, I'm going to release a photobook. As I'm recording this episode, it was recently announced that Katsuyuki Konishi, already well into his 40s, is going to release a photobook. A couple of years back, Kenjutsu released a photobook, so we are having veteran seiyuu with a mature vibe releasing photobooks, and that's perfectly okay. It's kind of awesome to see that we have, in a way, fans are so worried or caring so much about the looks of the younger seiyuu and putting a lot of pressure on them to look almost all the same. Because, let's admit it, almost all seiyuu now in their 20s, early 30s, let's say, they almost have the same look when they appear on TV specifically. That it is interesting when you look at the veteran seiyuu and you would think, well, younger fans of seiyuu are so focused on looks and not on the voice acting, which should be the main thing, mind you, that they won't basically pay attention to veteran seiyuu. Well, look at my surprise that male seiyuu, veteran male seiyuu, are getting fans interested in them again. And this is something that the anime industry is actually embracing it a lot, and I do love to see this happening. This is not something that I was expecting, but this is something that is deserved in a way, because seiyuu, almost up until now, almost it seemed like they went out of their expiry date, which is ridiculous. Seiyuu do not have an expiry date. Voices are timeless. Of course, some people will have voices that grow older and sound older as they grow older, but there are some seiyuu with voices that are timeless. Look at Hikaru Midorikawa, his voice is the same as when he debuted. There are some mild changes, but those are minimal. You have Koyasu Takehito, his voice is still the same. You have Tomokazu Seki, the voice is still the same. So why are people basically putting an expiry date on seiyuu? Doesn't make any sense. So it is good to see that fans are now looking at them and asking them to go to cons, to basically release photobooks, to appear on TV shows, to actually appear on magazines. It's quite awesome to see that happening. And it is a weird thing to say that, yeah, young fans are looking at male seiyuu, younger male seiyuu, only thinking about their looks, and then we have at the same time fans looking at older veteran seiyuu, and they are thinking about, well, I love them so much that I don't care how they look, I just want to support them. Why can't we have that kind of mindset for the younger seiyuu? Because most, if not all, younger seiyuu, they look the same, and they are trying all to sound the same, which is basically making the industry right now quite boring, in my opinion. And that's a big reason why, out of the new generations of seiyuu, male seiyuu, this is basically the very first time that I don't have any seiyuu in their early 20s that I'm a fan of, because they are, at their core, they are so superficial, because their talent agencies tell them to be like that, and they are so boring that I don't find anyone there to support like I did years back when I came across a couple of seiyuu that are now my all-time favorites or my favorites. So it is kind of sad to see that the industry is fabricating in a way seiyuu to be stars, and they are so fake in events that you cannot connect with the newest generations. At least I'm not connecting at all with the newest generations of male seiyuu. And those that are in their late 20s, early 30s, I still click with them because they were the last generations basically of seiyuu to be, or to not have that pressure to be like an idol. Right now, they do have that pressure, and I would love for that pressure to go away, because if you are looking at veteran male seiyuu and saying, yes, please release a photo book, this is kind of awesome, why are you actually judging the younger seiyuu, saying that they look ugly or fat or whatever? Because you are shaming them. In case you didn't notice, you are shaming them. And their work, their occupation is a voice actor. Let's say it again, voice actor. They use their voice. So their looks should be secondary to what they do. And people only care about their looks. And that's a big reason at times why some seiyuu are not cast in some anime. Because the creators are thinking about, when I'm going to promote this anime, I want the seiyuu to appear in the magazines, and that seiyuu is so, let's say with quotation marks, so ugly that I don't want them on the cover, and instead I'm going to bring a seiyuu that is considered really handsome, but is not necessarily a good seiyuu, because I need them on the cover, because they look good on the cover and they will sell for sure. That's a really wrong mindset, but that's a mindset that has impacted some anime franchises and has led to, let's say, some weird choices when it comes to recasting, for example, seiyuu in a work that already had a cast for a drama CD or for a game, for example, and then they recast everything to bring in the big guns, the popular names or the really handsome names, because they think that it will sell better if they are there instead of the original ones, let's say. Putting this aside, photo books are really good to bring attention to male seiyuu. I believe they are awesome to bring attention to male seiyuu, and I'm all for supporting the seiyuu that I love, and this is a way for them to get money, because people will not want to pirate a photo book. They want to own the photo book. This is the type of media that people still want to purchase instead of getting it digitally. Still, there are seiyuu that are releasing photo books digitally. Nobuhiko Okamoto released his photo book in digital version to ensure that everyone was covered and that he sold the best and the most he could. But it's not common practice for male seiyuu to release a photo book in digital version, because they know that it will be pirated pretty soon. This is something that ensures that seiyuu have or receive money for their work, and much more money, or money that is more certain by the end of the month for a male seiyuu, or seiyuu in general. So this was my big talk about photo books, because right now it was announced that Katsuyuki Konishi is going to release a photo book, and he's a veteran seiyuu. He's getting quite a lot of popularity back, especially because of his appearance in Apothecary Diaries. The anime was a big hit, and even if he was not the main character, he was still beloved by the fans. At the same time, we have Chiaki Kobayashi, one of the biggest names among male seiyuu, and quite potentially one of the seiyuu that may, in the next couple of years, make a solo debut. I believe he will make eventually. He's one of the biggest names right now when it comes to anime series because of Marshall, and we have at the same time the fact that he is part of Cranv and Goku Luck, two big groups part of the 2D music industry. So we do have here two seiyuu coming from completely different backgrounds and having completely different, or being in completely different stages in their career, releasing photo books, and that's because seiyuu want a reliable source of money for them by the end of the day. They want to be in as many places they can be to ensure that they get as much money as possible for their work, for their looks, for their words, because by the end of the day, being a voice actor alone doesn't pay their bills unless they become superstars. So they have to capitalize on as much or as many sources of money as possible. And I see this with good eyes. Some fans might not see this with good eyes, but I see this with good eyes because I'm all about supporting male seiyuu. And if they can get another source of money for their hard work or for their looks, so be it, because they deserve it. By the end of the day, they are also using their looks to sell their craft. Nowadays, it is necessary. So this is all coming from me about photo books and how they have become this common. As you may see, the reasons are various behind why the photo books are a big thing right now. So this was all about the topic at hand. I hope you enjoyed this kind of laid-back rant, because I'm not following a script whatsoever. This was a topic that I found quite interesting, and I simply picked the mic up and started recording. So it's time for you to actually tell me what you think about these, because the episode shouldn't be only about what I think. So what do you think about photobooks? Are they a good source of money for your favorite seiyuu? Are you the type of person that actually purchases photobooks by your favorite male seiyuu, in case you have a favorite male seiyuu? I would love to know that. I would love to know which photobooks you actually purchased. I will start first. I have all photobooks by Shuichi Chiba, all photobooks by Makoto Furukawa, all by Toshiki Masuda. I do have a couple of, let's say, photobooks, essay books by Soma Saito. So, and I have a photobook by Daisuke Ono. So I do have a couple of photobooks on my end. They come from seiyuu that I truly love. I don't purchase by everyone because otherwise I would be without any money, but I purchase from those that are the dearest to me because they have marked me, or that they are so dear to me that I really want to support them any way I can. So this is all coming from me. Of course, if you are watching or listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please give it a like and subscribe to the podcast. Follow the podcast if it is the name that they call it to subscribing. And give it a review, because a review is really simple to give. It takes, let's say, 5 seconds, and it helps other people basically come across this podcast and actually find about male seiyuu and get into male seiyuu, which would be awesome to have more people sharing the fun with us all. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Thank you very much for commenting if you are going to comment on this episode, and I'll see you guys soon.